energy transfer. Death is a lie. It's just energy transfer. 'Cause we're all alive. It's just energy transfer. We're all alive. In this moment in time, it's just energy transfer. Reach in your mind. It's all energy transfer. It's all alive. We're all alive.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Mind, Body, and Monkh, episode 4. Today, we're focused around changing your negative mind state through your diet. And I know you're probably thinking, I'm not going to change my negative mind state by just my diet, and I don't really expect you to. Really, it's just let's start here with your diet first, and then we'll keep on moving. So I just want to start this out by saying when I was younger, I think when we're all younger, all we want to eat is hamburgers, fries, all the fast food in the world, the pizzas, hot dogs, all that processed greatness, right? It sounds so amazing. And as kids, most of the time, why not? Let's indulge while we can. But same sense, you know, when I was a kid, my mom always would say, okay, we can have these French fries and these burgers every once in a while. But what I'm going to push in front of you most of the time is a Mediterranean diet. I'm going to push in front of you baked chicken, cooked tomatoes, and obviously the pastas and everything from where I come from, whole grain foods and all that goodness. And what I didn't realize what she was doing is she was helping not just my body, but my mind as well. I was a very active child. I never slowed down. I think a lot of people can say that for themselves, regardless of their diet, though. But I never really dove into too much of the darker sides of my mind or mentality, like I probably would have if she would just like throw all this stuff in front of me. Let's go out to eat fast food every night and kind of dove me into a different type of lifestyle. Once again, I'm sure you guys are like, what does that have to do with anything? And let me tell you, it has everything to do with something. There's been many tests about depression and your diet, and it shows that people that have a better diet, even things like a Mediterranean diet, which is at the highest of health diets in the whole world for like the third year or something since they've been doing this, that if you have these types of healthier diets, that your mind, your mentality, your energy are going to be at higher levels of activity and more positive in turn. So that's what this has to do with this. And, I'm just going to dive in a little bit on the different factors of all this stuff. I don't know if you've ever noticed, but I've noticed more recently, because I'm going to be honest, the first time people realize that I don't eat meat, they say, well, what are you, a vegetarian? Are you pescatarian? Or puts all these Aryans and Varians and Blarians over things. And I'm just like, I have no idea. I don't put a name on something. I just know what I don't eat and what I do eat, right? But when I do eat things like fast foods, which I have recently, to tell you the truth, and it was really just more for a test, to kind of put facts around these words. And I ate some fast food, and that night I just couldn't go to sleep for anything. I had anxiety for no reason. I got animals that like to sleep near me, and just the fact that they were near me, I felt something was off, and I didn't have the rest that I needed. Nothing was going the way that I wanted it to, and I thought to myself, is this just me in my mind? Is this me just building this up? So I tried it again a week later, and once again, it was one of those situations where I was high anxiety driven. I couldn't sleep, so I was even more pressed through anxiety. And so I started looking up and researching, and I came to find, that refined carbohydrates and many fast food items can cause your blood sugar to fluctuate. And so extremely low blood sugar can cause panic attacks, insomnia, and other anxiety symptoms. In addition of lack of omega-3 fatty acids, which we need those omega-3 fatty acids to give us our energy. So saying that, things like fast foods, processed foods trigger anxiety, and it kind of just put in place what I was really wanted to figure out here, because it's easy to just read up on something. It's easy to just kind of have this diet for most of your life and say, well, since I haven't eaten fast food most of my life, or made it a big thing, or made going out to eat in restaurants a big thing in my life necessarily, that I'm okay, right? I'm healthy and all these things. You know, I wanted to dive into other sides and kind of experiment. And what I found out was kind of right there in front of me, that when I did dive into a more caffeinated life and more fast food lifestyle, that I was starting to rise up these things, even with daily meditation, daily physical vinyasa yoga styles of yoga, and everything else. I was still doing my daily plight towards my spiritual light, but if I want, besides the eating part, obviously. And it was pushing me more towards fighting that in my meditations and even in my sleep, especially in my sleep. So I say that to say this, for people that are struggling, we're all going through a big time right now, being with the pandemic. I mean, we're a year in at this point in time, and we still really don't have 100% knowledge on when this is going to end. If you're having some issues, if you're going through some mental stuff, I implore you to at least try to change your diet for the better. First and foremost, before you dive in to, any pharmaceuticals or street drugs or anything, please just try your difference in diet and exercise as well. Because it's the thing, if you love going and playing sports, whether it's soccer, basketball, football, whatever it is, even things like golf, you need to be exercised for. If you love doing martial arts or even running, going to the gym, you're going to need the right foods to fuel you to do this, And I know today we have so many different supplements. We have so many different powders to make up for all this stuff, organic, non-GMO, and all this greatness, right? But it's easy as to just think about it like this. Eat what the earth, gives you, right? Eat what comes from the earth. Eat what the sun makes come from the earth, right? It's as easy as that. You don't necessarily have to worry about carbohydrates and omega-3 fatty acids and proteins and all these things when you're just really focusing on, what is a balanced meal in a sense of what comes from the earth, If you have your what we call superfoods today, your sweet potatoes, your broccolis, cauliflowers, your whole grain foods, even diving into some things like, fish like salmon, and fish, anything that's kind of oily fish-wise, In saying all that, I just want to kind of let you in on like what I did. And it's weird because I did this myself. I didn't really go and read a book that told me to do anything or watch a YouTube video. But after I kind of made this a habitual thing in my life, I went back and figured out that the people that were on kind of the same spiritual gathering, I say monks, do the same thing. And I'm going to start just by saying I let go of worrying about the taste of food. I feel like today we're so focused on taste and what food tastes like. Does it taste good? Does it taste bad? Or is it too bland, right? Just be honest here. Most food that comes from the earth is either going to have a certain kind of bitter taste, a rooty taste, a earthy taste, or it's going to be a little bit of bland depending on, when you add your seasonings, depending on the seasonings, that's when you're going to start having issues again and getting back into the non-healthier sides of things. It's just reality. It's just real. So I always take it back to the tribal forums. They ate really what was around them. And it wasn't necessarily too worried about spices and all these different things. Not saying that spices are necessarily bad. Like I said, it all depends. I kind of sidetrack this. I would look up Dr. Sebi's lists of foods to eat and not to eat. He does have some things in there that will show you that some things that we consider spices aren't too bad for you, depending on. But I would say otherwise, letting go of taste helped me so much because I was so logged into, for some reason, things like steak, bacon, and everything around it, fried chicken, because of the way it tasted, right? Not because of how it made me feel, because honestly, it made me feel terrible. McDonald's made me feel terrible. Fast food made me feel terrible. Donuts makes you feel terrible afterwards. But you see, people will eat these foods because they taste good. Then they'll take a sedative or whatever it is to make their body feel better because they just ate something that really wasn't good for their body. That their body was telling them, don't eat this, right? I don't feel good when you eat this, just because of the way it tastes, right? So I would say let go of the way things taste necessarily. I did it one at a time. I didn't jump all into this one day and say, I'm just going to stop eating all meats and stop smoking cigarettes and stop doing drugs and all this stuff at once. It was a one at a time thing for me. So I started with obviously the red meats, the steaks and all that stuff. And then I went into, stopping bacon, which was really hard for me. And then chicken and fish were the last ones to go. But in saying that, letting go of taste is so big on changing your diet, for listening to what your body feels like when you eat this, the good foods and the bad foods, right? When you eat good foods that are supposed to energize you, what we call superfoods, they're going to energize you. Your brain's going to automatically just go zoom. If you're paying attention, your body isn't going to be so tired throughout the day. And in turn, you make this a habit. You're not going to be having as much aches, right? You're going to be losing weight. Which brings me into my second thing to say is it's not really, a lot of people do these types of diets to say, oh, I want to lose some weight, right? I'm eating too much of this or eating too much of that. And then all of a sudden it's not really about anything besides losing weight. And once they lose that weight, they're like, oh, I look pretty, I'm at a good spot, I suppose. And then they kind of dive back into, my cheat days, right? Don't make it about losing weight. Focus on foods that are good for you, that give you energy. Once again, paying attention to what your body likes, and in that, you're going to have not just a much deeper relationship with your own body and your mind, but you're going to have a much deeper relationship with your soul and your food all together. Treat your food like a meditation. Traditional monk life throughout many different religions, they won't eat food from somebody that was cooked from people that don't like them or people that they don't even know, right? Because they essentially believe that whoever's preparing this food, their energy is going into this food, and if you're eating energy from somebody who's been angry all day or someone who doesn't even like you, what do you think you're going to get back from that, right? Most yogis and certain monks don't even eat food that's over an hour old from being prepared, right? Because the energy is gone. They just feel like it's pretty much trash at that point in time in their minds, and in that, it becomes a complete focus. So it's not necessarily a focus on, oh, let me lose this weight. It's more focus on what does my body actually feel when I'm eating this, right? And let me tell you, anybody who's ever fought an addiction, who's ever stopped something that was bad for them, that first week, 2 weeks, and depending on what it was, year or so, was hard, terrible, right? Your mind still stuck on something, and it's really only at the point in time where you subside it by doing something else to make your mind busy, to take your mind off of that one thing that might be bad for you, don't want to do anymore, by doing something else, right? I say it's pretty much the same situation. Find a group of people that eat the same way that you want to eat or the same way that you do eat, right? Find a culture or, like I said, a group of people, and that's going to help you a lot faster to it's the people you surround yourself with at the end of the day that are going to lead you to wherever they're going to, right? If you have friends that only do drugs and talk about how mad they are all day, you can be the biggest light in the world. After a certain amount of time, that's going to start seeping in, and their energy is going to become your energy, right? So you want to surround yourself with people, like-minded people that are energetic, that have the same goal set as you, and most importantly, that have the same eating habits as you, if this is something that you're fighting with. In saying that, I'm going to wrap this up. I appreciate you guys listening to me. Like I said, we're all going through something right now during this pandemic. We all have had to change our lives in one way or another. And I know every single one of us is battling. Even if we're finding success in this, there's something that's sitting there, battling itself because, in a sense, we kind of feel refined in ways. Try out a difference in diet. Try this out first before you dive into anything else. Try this out and then find a habit that brings in exercise for you. And I guarantee you at least, 30% of your depression, your sad thoughts, if not all of it will deplete, will go away. So once again, I appreciate you listening to episode 4 of Mind, Body, and Monkh. See you next week. So just sit in an easy pose with your legs folded one over the other, with your palms above your knees, facing up. Slightly turn your head up with your eyes closed. Focus towards the middle, right between your eyebrows. Relax your jaw, and with inhale, say, I am not the body. And with exhale, say, I am not even the mind. Inhale, I am not the body. Exhale, I am not even the mind. I am not the body. I am not even the mind. I am not the body. I am not even the mind. I am not the body. I'm not even the mind. I am not the body. Not even the mind. I am not the body. I'm not even the mind. I am not the body. I'm not even the mind. I am not the body. I'm not even the mind. I am not the body. I'm not even the mind. I am not the body. I'm not even the mind. I am not the body. I'm not even the mind. I am not the body. I'm not even the mind. I am not the body. I'm not even the mind. I am not the body. I'm not even the mind. I am not the body. I'm not even the mind. I am not the body. I'm not even the mind. I am not the body. I'm not even the mind. I am not the body. I'm not even the mind. I am not the body. I'm not even the mind. I am not the body. I'm not even the mind. I am not the body. I'm not even the mind. Take a second. Sit in silence. Head still tilted up. Eyes still closed. Take your time. Take your time. Slowly open your eyes.